Hello everyone, Ace here, and today let's talk about that recently revealed trailer for Velma, and why so many people are unhappy with it. Now, for those who are unaware, HBO Max has recently revealed a trailer for an upcoming show known as Velma, which is about Velma from the Scooby-Doo series. And this trailer has not exactly been well received, but let's now move on to why it is receiving such backlash. And there are, in my opinion, several reasons as to why this is the case. First of all, the show is yet another example of wokeness, i.e. it is artistically raping the Scooby-Doo franchise by forcefully inserting identity politics into it against the consent of the fandom. In other words, HBO Max decided to make Velma wear brownface, because Velma as a character has been long established to be white. So taking that existing character and darkening her up is not bringing in a character that is actually South Asian. Instead, HBO Max is taking an existing character who happens to be white and making that character wear brownface. And from now on, I believe this is how we should criticize these companies whenever they decide to do something like this. Highlight the fact that so-called progressive scriptwriters aren't really capable of creating characters and instead typically create caricatures, i.e. walking, talking stereotypes. It is thus perfectly accurate to describe what has happened to Velma as an example of forcing Velma to wear brownface, and to therefore criticize HBO Max for making this happen. But it's not just Velma that is getting this treatment, I should mention, as promotional material also shows Daphne as being made to wear yellowface. And then there is the case of Shaggy, who appears to be replaced by a brand new character known as Norval. Given that it at least appears that Shaggy is getting replaced by a new character, I can't technically call this an example of blackface yet, though it would be the case if it turns out that this character is using Shaggy as a nickname. Then there's the case of Fred, and given that this is a show being written by a bunch of woke Marxists, it's likely that he will be wearing whiteface, i.e. a punching bag that the writers will use to show how they view white people the same way that National Socialists historically viewed the Jews. And for those who think I'm going a little bit too far with these assumptions, I want you to consider two things. First of all, a recent article on IGN by Matt Kim already hints at the character being utilized in this way. The second is going back to the trailer itself. The writers have already done this to some degrees in the actual trailer, albeit using Velma herself as an insert for understandably angry fans voicing their concerns about HBO Max letting a bunch of woke racists run the show. Curiously, it is of course worth noting that while parodying these fans, the writers end up referencing a very recent second attempt at going woke as well with regards to Velma, as a supposedly unrelated Scooby-Doo film very recently depicted Velma as being lesbian, because far leftists aren't only obsessed with racist stereotypes, they're also obsessed with homosexual stereotypes as well. But the point is, the very act that this trailer referenced that, despite the trailer dropping just days after the movie had shown, proves that these two projects weren't exactly separated, and instead there is some very real collaboration going on here, demonstrating that HBO Max is deliberately trying to create outrage from the fandom, and then will inevitably try to accuse the fandom of being racist, in order to get the usual free publicity and shield from criticism. Which leads me to the change in tactics that I have mentioned earlier. Instead of saying that they have race-swapped Velma and Daphne, we should instead start accusing these companies of making existing white characters wear brownface, yellowface, blackface, etc. It'll be far harder for these companies to pretend that the fans that are upset are just merely racists, if the complaint that those fans are making is that the company is racist for making racist caricatures. Two can play at this game, and I believe that with enough time and pressure we can make the woke companies lose in the end. The tide is already starting to turn in the culture wars anyways. It seems to more be the case that certain companies haven't quite got the memo yet. That said, I do believe, however, that with time, that will most certainly change. And right now, I believe the priority should be to accelerate the speed at which these companies learn the lesson that get woke, go broke is a phrase that exists for a reason. Now, I believe I've said all that really needs to be covered at this time, so I'll finish by stating that I will of course be leaving links in the description below to the sources that I have used so you can check them out for yourself if you should so desire. But in any case, this has been Ace. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.